back. This is BoomerLife on CIL 650.
Don't you listen to what the man said. He said.
We are back. This is BoomerLife on CIL 650. I'm George Gordon. Today we're talking about the dramatic effects of hearing loss and solutions you'll find with NexGen Hearing. One of the things we'll be talking about in just a couple of minutes is real ear measures. And joining us once again, NexGen's Dr. Ted Benema. Dr. Ted, let's describe real ear measures and what are done at the end of the fitting process.
Yeah, real ear fitting is proving that you got what you thought you got. And as we said earlier, you've entered the client's hearing levels into the computer. You've hooked the hearing aid up to a box which is connected to the computer. Okay. Or you might do it wirelessly. So you've got the person's hearing information is entered into the computer. The fitting method is chosen, and the computer is doing its number crunching, and then it's programming the hearing aid to do according to the rules, to recognize your hearing levels, apply the fitting method to your hearing levels, apply all the little tweaks and added what they call digital algorithms, and then you hit save. And that's saved as program 1. And that might be for listening in quiet. Then you'll want a program for listening in noise, traffic, that type of stuff. So you'll keep the same general amplification characteristics, but you'll tweak them a little bit. You'll pick up a little bit less low pitch, because a lot of you think of the word hubbub, babble, blah, 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 that's usually low pitched traffic noise, whereas the high pitched consonants, the letter S, S, F, 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 TH, 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 they're soft and high pitched. They're also fragile. So they are easily masked or covered by low pitches. So you want to amplify treble by more in noise and amplify bass by less in noise. So your frequency response of your hearing aid might be doing one thing in quiet. It's going to be producing a slightly different quality of sound in noise. Plus, in noise, you're going to want your microphones to behave like functioning like a funnel, like right in front of you. Assuming the person of interest that you want to hear is in front of you, you'll want your hearing aid microphones to be most sensitive to sounds in the front, as opposed to the sides and the rear. Now, the interesting that you've programmed, but you ain't done yet. Now you've got to verify. You have to prove that you're getting what the computer said you're getting. Otherwise, it's like me saying, you might have cancer, but I'm not doing a biopsy.
Oh.
Okay, you want to prove it. So you will take a little tiny tube about an inch long, is put down your ear canal, and then the hearing aid is placed just carefully on top of that little thin tube, and that tube is like hair thin. It's like a thread. It's thin, and it's very pliable, so no, don't worry, we don't bump your eardrum with it. Anyway, that tube is attached to a microphone that's measuring the sound from the hearing aid. And on your computer or on the equipment called real ear measurement, you are able to then have sound coming out of the speaker of the real ear measurement equipment, and you can visualize what the client is hearing. On the screen, you'll be able to see the person's hearing loss, and then you'll be able to see average speech, unaided, and then you'll be able to see speech aided, and you can visualize the difference between aided and unaided speech. You can see what the client's hearing. So you're able to prove, are you getting what you said you'd get?
Right. And to the client,
yeah.
it's understanding, yes, I can see that. I can see that graph, and I can see that. Yes, and it feels like that.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to show the client that, you're not just, what do you call it? You don't want to be selling muck. You don't want to be selling jazz, stuff that people can't understand. You want to make it palatable, understandable, and realistic so that the person actually, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I couldn't hear the high pitches before. And what I can visualize now, because you're running that little tube in my ear and you're measuring what the hearing aid is doing, I can actually visualize, yep, I can hear CH, ch, ch. I can hear that better. I can see where that was. It was below my hearing levels, and I can visualize that on the screen before I wore the hearing aids. And now with the hearing aids on, oh yeah, I can hear it better, but I can also see that I can hear it better. That's, it plays a big part in counseling.
Well, seeing is believing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Hearing is believing, but is it just my imagination? No, there it is.
Exactly.
There it is.
Too many people who are slipshod fitters aren't using real ears. There are some places that don't use it. I won't name names, okay? Places like NexGen, it's de rigueur. Everyone, you have to. I mean, it's in fact, in British Columbia, it's preferred practice. To be a registered hearing aid clinician, thou shalt do real ear.
I see.
It's illegal not to.
Well, I think that would be pretty important. There are people that I know who have had bad experiences in the fitting and in that procedure that you're just talking about, putting that small tube in. They're loath to have. It's like somebody coming at you with a bright light, with they're testing your eyes or whatever, and anybody going near their ear, it's frightening. So the process, it's not just the science, which makes a lot of sense, but the physical, emotional well-being of the patient that has to go into consideration. Yes.
You don't just come charging out of the barn. You step into the water slowly. You've counseled you've taken a case history of the client. You've asked the client what his or her problems are, when they experience it. Is it watching TV? Is it over the phone? Et cetera, et cetera. Then you're looking in the ear canal, you're judging whether to refer to a physician or not to a physician, whether that's not necessary, and if it's an ear infection or something, you've got to refer. You can't be putting hearing aids on someone like that. It's illegal. And then you've got to, according to research, proven fitting methods, you're applying the fitting method of choice. You're programming the hearing aids, and guess what? You're not done yet. Now you are proving, are you getting what the computer said you're getting by real ear measurement? And they call it real ear because it's going to behave differently in your ear than it's going to in mine. Your ear canal is shaped different. Your ear canal size is different. Everything is, so it's got to be on that particular person. You are able to visualize what the hearing aid is actually accomplishing in terms of speech understanding.
Talk to me about some of the people that you've dealt with in your career, where this process, this new technology, this regimen that NexGen goes through with each and every one that comes through their office. Tell me about a couple of cases, young, old. I'd like to hear this.
I was working at a hearing aid company, a manufacturer in Ontario. It's called Unitron. That's a Canadian hearing aid company, by the way. And my job was doing field trials on hearing aids. I had to run the new products and measure what they were doing. Well, there was a young guy who came in. He was a shipper receiver, probably 25 years old. Came in with his wife. And he was a friend of a friend of a friend. Somehow he got referred to me, and he was part of what they called that field trial. So they weren't paying for the hearing aids at all. They were just, and this guy, it blew my mind. All his life, he had a 60 decibel hearing loss.
Wow.
Equal across the frequencies. So he was constantly straining to hear speech. I mean, it was part of his life. I mean, all through school, his grades were terrible. And all through teenage, relationships, connections with people, because hearing is a communicative sense. All these things, he accommodated his hearing loss. It was like he was struggling to hear all the time, but that was just his natural state of affairs. Amplified for 1 week, he comes in, and I deliberately under-amplified. You got to get him used to it. And after 1 week, his wife was just saying, it's a game changer. Like, I can't believe the difference. His whole personality is different. He's asking questions about what he's hearing on the news. Or he was just he was himself. He was a nice guy, but he was just different. He wasn't as involved. Yeah, generally just used to being left out. It was just part of his persona. And Ted, whatever you've done, I said, it's not me, it's the hearing aids. Now let's crank them up a little bit. And so you can more get closer to matching that fitting method, like what you're trying to do. And after a month or so, he was acclimatized to the hearing aids, but his whole life, I never watched it quite like that, in a young person.
Mm-hmm.
It affects, in elderly people too, it affects relationships. I mean, hearing is the one sense that involves not only the person who has it, but also significant others.
Dr. Ted Venema, thank you so much. NexGen Hearing's roving audiologist. Always great to talk to you. If you'd like some more information about what you've heard on the show today, you can go to nextgenhearing.com.